Am I the idiot for arguing with my GF for caring about her sister too much? I make around $150,000 a year as a lead software developer. As someone who has no kids, dogs, or any major responsibility besides myself and a GF, I never checked my account. She comes from a cultural family where family is everything and money is just paper. She texted me earlier saying how it should always be family first and that money didn't mean anything without family, and how we should help close family like siblings in their time of need. At this point, I told her I needed time to myself and told her not to come back until I'm ready to talk. I apologize if my sentences aren't making sense as Whiskey is my only friend right now. I also forgot to mention we started dating before all this money came into play, so I trusted her. Another edit. I'm more sad by the betrayal than the money. Money will come back, but time will never come back. 5 whole years, my proposal plan, my life plan, my future kids I dreamt about with her just gone. All the things we've said to each other. All the late night wine drunk times we spent, all the dates, all the flowers I gave her. I tried with all my power to be the best man she can have. I would have trusted her with my life, and what do I get back? $50,000 Goni. Final update, she is now my ex. We met at a local coffee shop and I told her that things wouldn't work out for us, and she went absolutely ballistic. She caused a scene begging me to not end it. It did hurt me to see her like this, but after a couple weeks to give it some thought, I would not want a wife who is a liar and one I couldn't trust financially. I left a $100 bill on the table and left, but she followed me down to my car. She begged and told me she wouldn't send any more money to her sister and how she would do anything for us to be together. It was hard, but I stayed strong. She picked up her belongings the other day and I almost had to call the cops because she wouldn't leave. She first tried everything from sexual favors, begging, crying. Then it turned to screaming that I ruined her life, to even saying without her I wouldn't have gotten to where I am now because of her support. I stayed strong, and when she left I just broke down sobbing. For those wondering, I'm not gonna press charges because all I want is for her to leave me alone. I don't want anything to do with her. I don't ever want to see her face again. The money will come back as it's just me, a house, and 2 paid-off cars. It does get lonely, so I'm thinking of getting a puppy, a Doberman, for those wondering. Thank you everyone for all the suggestions, and a lot of you really had me thinking about my decisions, and I definitely learned a lot of valuable lessons. Goodbye. And thank you. Comment 1. Yes, if you want to keep the relationship going, this is a good strategy. I don't know how I could ever trust someone that would spend $50K, agree not to do it again without talking to me, then the next day send $1,000 behind my back. At this point, she and the sister may be splitting the money for when OP and her breakup, as 99.99% of people would never do this if they wanted the relationship to last. Even if that's not happening, to go to her mom's like that is some sort of power play, like she has been wronged, is just so messed up. Comment 2. I completely agree that nobody needs $5,000 a month, but as someone who lives in a HCOL area, you can easily spend that amount on what are considered necessities. Where I live, daycare easily costs $2,000 a month and my mortgage is another $2,000. Add in another $1,000 for insurance, utilities, car payments, groceries, and there you go. Of course, that's not the issue here since the GF is paying for dinner and dates and stuff. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for telling my girlfriend my sister is objectively more attractive than her? Okay, so I know how the title looks, but there's some context. My sister is very pretty and everyone is always commenting on it, and she's always had a ton of attention from guys, etc. Obviously, it's totally different because I'm her brother, but I still have eyes and I can still recognize that on an objective level she's very beautiful. Long story short, the other day my girlfriend and I were hanging out with some friends and a conversation ensued that ended with my girlfriend asking me if I thought my sister, who wasn't there, was more attractive than her. I thought she was joking, so I just kind of laughed it off, but then she kept asking, and it became pretty clear even if she wanted it to look like she was joking, she wanted an actual answer. I asked, objectively, and she said, yeah. So I said, objectively she's prettier than you. I made sure to emphasize objectively because OFC she's attractive to me, but obviously that didn't help because she got really pissed off. She was in a mood the rest of the night and I haven't talked to her in like 3 days. I don't know what I was supposed to do. Frankly, I would have probably lied, except that I'm pretty sure she would have known I was lying because the answer is obvious. If you could see pictures of them side by side, you'd get it. And I figured she might have been even more mad if I'd lied. I was wrong about that, clearly. Comment 1. He wasn't put in an impossible situation. It's 100% possible and in fact easy to tell you're so that they're the most attractive person in your eyes. Comment 2. Especially when the other option was literally his sister, like this has got to be the easiest goddamn question. Like most dudes I know will swear to the Lord their sister looks like a squirrel because they don't even want to consider it. And this dude seems to have done quite a bit of considering about it. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for getting mad because my GF let her brother stay in our apartment without permission? I 23M, and my girlfriend, 21F, have been dating for 2 years. I started dating her because I was attracted to her intelligence. She always gave me good advice in work and personal matters. She is very successful career-wise and doesn't let anyone walk over her. But I have been questioning this impression of her lately. I moved in with her 6 months after we started dating. Her brother, then 16, was already living with her at the time as their parents passed away. To be honest, it was uncomfortable living with a third person because I couldn't spend quality time with my girlfriend, and I could tell her brother didn't like me. I put up with it because he was still a kid and I felt bad for their situation. Last month, the brother turned 18. Although my girlfriend's name is on the contract, I help pay the bills and do chores around the house. But the brother has never contributed financially. It's not like he can't. He's worked part-time jobs since he was 15, but my girlfriend refuses to let him pay to stay with us, because he needs the money for his college fund. I was fine with this until he became an adult. Now, he should have to do his part and I told him as such. He said he would do more chores and run errands instead of paying because he doesn't have money, despite having 2 part-time jobs. So I went to my girlfriend about it. She said that if I felt the split wasn't fair, she would pay 2/3 of the rent on behalf of her brother and I could pay the rest. I started to get angry then and told her that it's not right for her to be letting an adult man leech off us. I made it very clear that the brother shouldn't be living with us now that he's no longer a minor. He has been constantly leeching off my girlfriend by letting her pay for his tuition fees, college applications, etc., while giving nothing in return. When both of them started ignoring me, I packed up the brother's stuff and told him to leave. My girlfriend went totally nuts. She threw a hissy fit and said that I was overstepping my boundaries. She went on this spiel about how her family is her top priority, even though I'm the one who supported her for the last couple years, and how I had no right to bully an 18-year-old. When I tried to explain how she's being a pushover for letting her brother walk all over her, she screamed to get out and never come back. I was obviously shocked at being kicked out of my own home, so I refused, and she threatened me with the police. I grabbed my stuff and went, and I'm now waiting for her to get over it so I can return. I've had to stay on a friend's couch for the last few days because my girlfriend of 2 years cares about doing everything for another man, completely ignoring how she overstepped my boundaries by allowing an outsider in our place. Edit. I want to make it clear that I didn't immediately try to throw out the brother when he turned 18. I spoke to both of them multiple times explaining the situation, but was ignored. I tried talking about it for half a month before doing this as a last resort. Edit 2. After some consideration, I've decided that finding my own place and living arrangements will be for the better. Clearly my girlfriend refuses to place any responsibility on her brother, so he'll be there for who knows how long. I'll wait for her to unblock me and get in contact to have a serious discussion about our relationship, and hopefully we'll both apologize for losing our cool and move on. If not, well, there are plenty of fish in the sea. Comment 1. Actually, it's probably not. You'd be surprised how this is actually reality. I said it in a comment above this that I was with a guy whose mother perpetuated emotional incest. In her mind, even subconsciously, it was like he was cheating on her with me. I know it's disgusting, but it's the truth. Emotional incest means that no physical sexual contact occurs, but the boundaries between parent and child are blurred. It can also happen with siblings, but not in this case. This guy kind of reminds me of my ex's mother in that way. He's looking at the brother like he's another man, as in he's competition. He needs to get help. Comment 2. He is. This is creepy, and it reminds me of my ex's mom. There's this thing called emotional incest, and the reason why she acted like a jealous wife is because in her mind, even subconsciously, it was like he was cheating on her with me even though we were the ones that were dating. This was his mother, and we ended up splitting up because of her. Otherwise, I would have married him. I still hate her because of that. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for telling my brother and his girlfriend she's the reason I won't play games with him anymore? My brother, 28M, and I, 31M, usually play a variety of games together. A few months ago, he moved his GF in with him. I thought she was cool and all was fine until we were in a match one afternoon. Some randos joined our team, they had mics, turned out to be 2 women playing. No problem on our end, but his GF wasn't thrilled and didn't want him playing with any women. He wanted to respect her boundaries, so he left the game, and afterward, whenever we play games that we use mics and pick up randoms, we'd only play if we wound up with all guy teammates. The real problem popped up when we were playing a different game, queued up for a dungeon, and we wound up with 3 people in our party using women characters. She didn't like that either because my brother couldn't tell for sure if the players themselves were men or women. For a little while I stuck it out and we wound up spending most of our time just trying to find other players that didn't step over his GF's boundaries. Honestly, I felt like we were being creepy asking players if they were a guy or gal before playing. On top of that, trying to find a party that would meet her approval if she saw him playing really cut into my limited time a lot of days. I went from playing with him 2 to 3 times a week in the afternoon to maybe once a week, and it's not consistent. It's his relationship and I respect that, so I didn't want to say anything and just started playing later at night, for a little bit after my kids are in bed instead of in the afternoons. Yesterday I went to a friend's house for their birthday and my brother and his GF were there. Things were fine until I was leaving and my brother asked if I wanted to play later this coming week. I said I'd see. He brought up how I barely play with him anymore and I told him, nothing against you, his GF. But between work and kids I get limited time to play and I don't want to spend it looking for players that only use EPN characters, because she can't deal with pixel women being around your pixels, and I'm tired of sounding like a creep. I left, and got a text from him late last night that they've been fighting, and he gets why I said it because he gets frustrated too, but I shouldn't have said anything and just dealt with it in silence as he does. Edit. Thanks for all of the feedback. I will try to read everyone's comments, and right now, I plan to have my brother over sometime this week when our schedules allow for a brother-to-brother talk about everything. I'm planning on showing him this post and getting to the root of why he feels he needs to put up with this to be respectful of her. Comment 1. Your brother's girlfriend is being ridiculous. She's jealous of him hearing other women's voices? She's jealous of him looking at female video game characters? She doesn't want him interacting with any other women, real or imaginary. Dude, I think you were way nicer about this than you needed to be. You are not responsible for her insecurities or their weird-ass relationship. NTA. Comment 2. That's because women, myself included, don't play games because we like them. We're obviously using it as a means to troll for our next victims. I mean boyfriends. /s she really needs to do some serious self-reflection if the real women who could be seen as a threat are fine, but people he'll likely not even care to or have the chance to meet cause her this much distress.